Construction is underway for an elementary school in Harbor Landing. Concern over staffing levels in maternity wards. And an all-Indigenous solar power project near Bethune.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. While the school year is just around the corner, the focus today in Regina's Harbor Landing was actually fall 2027. Construction has started on a new joint-use elementary school with hopes for classes to begin in 2 years. Jacob Carr has more on what the school means for this growing neighborhood.
It's been a long wait, nearly 5 years, but construction is finally underway on the West Harbor Landing Joint-Use School. The project was delayed while the City of Regina searched for the 11 acres of land necessary to build a new joint-use facility, with a location confirmed in March of 2023. The province says ongoing discussions with both Regina school boards concerning the continuing rapid growth of the Harbor Landing neighborhood also put the project behind.
So I think that was one of the main reasons for some of the delays, taking some additional time to make sure that amongst with all of our partners, we were able to get the site right as best possible, and the size of the school here in terms of trying to be able to accommodate as many families as we can.
In 2023, 200 public school students had to be moved from Harbor Landing School due to overcrowding. The Regina Public School Board says once this new facility is built, it will relieve some pressure off of schools such as Milliken, Perry, and Argyle, and also parents in Harbor Landing.
A lot of kids near this location right now are hopping on a bus, moving across the Lou van, going to another school, and so we know that parents will appreciate being able to walk their kids to this community school again.
According to the provincial government, the total cost of the project is $66 million, a necessary investment in their eyes, but just one step in improving Saskatchewan's education.
No, it's not going to be enough, and I think it's all the more reason for us to focus on, the economic aspects of our province, because it's only through the growth of that economy that we're able to make investments like this.
The project was initially supposed to be complete by the fall of 2026, but that has been pushed back a year with a new target of opening in fall 2027. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Advocates are voicing their concern over the conditions at a Regina motel that's being used to house clients who rely on social services. As Angela Stewart explains, the group wants to see the motel shut down.
She's been homeless for weeks with hardly any place to go. Much like many clients who rely on social services, Sonia Scales says she was put into a room at the Coachman Inn, but it didn't come without surprises.
The conditions there were deplorable. I walked in and before we even walked in, there was people asking us to buy crystal meth. We opened the door and the smell was so sickening.
Scales claims she and her daughter noticed cockroaches and bed bugs all throughout the room.
As soon as I entered the room, the cockroaches are right visible, and they're climbing on the furniture. The mattress is so black, like full of cockroach and bed bug feces.
Ivy Kennedy, a counselor with the George Gordon First Nation and an advocate for social services clients, says it's only been in the last decade issues of alleged bugs and drugs at the motel have popped up.
We in 1985 or 82, when I first started in community, we didn't have the cockroaches or the fentanyl issue at the time.
NDP leader Carla Beck says this has been an ongoing issue in the province.
I thought that the Coachman was closed, honestly, is my first response. All people in this province deserve dignity and deserve respect, I think is the baseline.
When asked for comment, the Ministry of Social Services issued a statement saying they use a formal process which began in 2024 when securing housing for individuals. Adding, rooms have been booked at the Coachman Inn and Suites through this process, and if a client has a health or safety concern regarding the room, they will look to secure alternate available accommodations as they work with the hotel to address those concerns. Now, CTV News did reach out to the Coachman Inn for an interview on this story, but was denied comment from the owners. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Regina.
A Regina man faces charges over dangerous driving after police were forced to use a tire deflation device on Highway 11 last week. Police say the vehicle was traveling south on Highway 11 at high speeds on August the 20th. Officers tried to pull the vehicle over near Kenaston, but the driver kept going. After all 4 tires were deflated, he continued at a slower pace until he was arrested north of Davidson. The driver, a 38-year-old Regina man, faces charges of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle and flight from a police officer. He's also been handed a traffic ticket and his vehicle impounded. Whether it's a major center or a rural hospital, staffing at medical centers has been a concern for years, especially after the pandemic. Today, the Saskatchewan Union of Nurses is raising the alarm over staffing levels at maternity wards in Regina and Saskatoon. Stacey Hine has the details.
Staffing shortages, a lack of beds, and inadequate care in the maternity ward at the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. All concerns being raised by the Saskatchewan Union of Nurses.
They don't have enough staff to keep up with the number of patients that are coming in, these new moms that are coming in, and the complexity.
Bryce Boynton says staff are seeing an increase in the number of expectant mothers presenting with comorbidities, such as hypertension, diabetes, and syphilis, making their care more complex. He says Regina General Hospital's maternity ward is facing similar challenges, along with issues around outdated equipment. The union recently sharing anonymous letters from its members on social media. One nurse wrote, quote, "Our electronic fetal monitors are becoming so outdated that monitors completely stop working while being used on a patient. Equipment malfunctions. We are running from room to room to find working equipment." Another nurse said patients are being denied basic care, waiting in waiting rooms for hours, delivering in triage beds, and being denied epidurals because of capacity pressures. And a Saskatoon nurse said nurses left solo with 8 prenatal patients when usually there are 2 nurses for that same load. Boynton says addressing staffing issues needs to be a priority.
Let's reassess our staffing availability. Let's focus on the recruitment and retention, but primarily that retention. And let's talk about nurse-patient ratios.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority acknowledges the situation and says an increase in deliveries, vacation time among staff, and illnesses contributed to the shortages in July, and that birth and staffing levels returned to normal in August. It did not address claims of equipment issues at Regina General Hospital and says Jim Pattison is outfitted with the necessary equipment. It adds patient safety remains a priority, something Sun says it's also pushing for. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
An inquest into the death of a child living at Provincial Group Care Home resumed today, with staff members recounting the boy's final days. Keenan Sorokon reports.
The jury heard about unclear policies, a complicated hierarchy of decision-making, and communication breakdowns at Eagles Nest Youth Ranch in the days leading up to Brandon Schaefer Kovacs being sent to hospital. Multiple staff members believed it was other staff who had the responsibility to take Schaefer Kovacs to the hospital. Staff mentioned Schaefer Kovacs, who had a reputation for exaggerating symptoms, asked to go to the hospital but testified they weren't asked directly and only saw a report detailing his request 8 days before he died. One staff member was told by a colleague with more experience the boy was trying to get out of going to school. Schaefer Kovacs would die in November 2022 after 3 days in hospital due to complications from influenza A and streptococcal pneumonia. He had a history of pneumonia, asthma, and diet problems, but it's unclear which staff knew about his medical history. The jury learned a thermometer wasn't working properly, and ultimately no one checked his temperature over 4 days. The caseworker, who was a student at the time, repeatedly said she couldn't recall specific details. The house manager, who was only in his position for 2 weeks at the time, said the house was short-staffed because of illness, having to call in workers from another home. The jury heard the boy's mom received a text message that Schaefer Kovacs was in the PICU and he was warm and relaxed now. But the mom wasn't aware that stood for Pediatric Intensive Care Unit and that her son was intubated and struggling to breathe. The inquest resumes Wednesday morning with final testimony from high-level staff within the Ministry of Social Services. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A youth justice center will be operating out of Moose Jaw thanks to funding from both the federal and provincial governments. Damien Smith has those details.
A new child and youth advocacy center is now open in Moose Jaw thanks to a $470,000 investment from the federal government in partnership with the province. In Moose Jaw, Little Oak Child and Youth Justice Center aims to support victims of childhood trauma.
The investment from the provincial government is to support the development of the facility that we see here today, as well as improvements on the current interview rooms, as well as investment into the Internet Child Exploitation Unit.
The money is also going towards expanding the Victim Services Responder Program to help children and youth under 18 years of age who are victims of abuse.
Then we got champions that are really putting together a place where children could feel safe, they can feel comfortable, and they can open up to some of the trauma and some of the questions that professional investigators have of them when it comes to family violence, as an example.
In the past, victims will be interviewed by police officers in uniform, sometimes creating more anxiety in an already unfortunate situation. This new facility will primarily be run by officers in victim and social services. A therapy dog will also be available on site.
Past practice, they would go to the police station, right? And sometimes those officers would be in uniforms and they would have to go into one of our soft rooms. It worked. They did a great job, but this is, as we move forward and learn more about trauma-informed practices, this is just the right avenue to go.
This is the third center that the federal and provincial government are supporting in Saskatchewan, with CYACs also situated in Regina and Saskatoon. A fourth location is currently in operation in Lloydminster, but is not funded through Justice Canada's CYAC initiative. Damien Smith, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
Sabine joins us for our first look at weather, and a hot day across most of southern Saskatchewan.
Yeah, many areas saw the temperatures in the 30s for their daytime high, Lee, and that is just going to continue for the rest of this week. We are seeing some excessive heat warnings in the province, just not into central southern Saskatchewan yet. That could change as we continue on into the rest of this week, but we're going to continue to see I don't really have much to tell you. We're going to see just calm and clear conditions as we head into the middle of the week and even getting into the weekend. You can see some of the areas in Saskatchewan still sitting in the 30s. Moose Jaw, Maple Creek still sitting at 31. Here in Regina, we're sitting at 30 degrees. The average, as we get closer to September, does start to cool down. 24 is the average. We got up to 31 degrees late this afternoon, and that's basically the same story we're going to see as we head into tomorrow and the rest of the week. But I'll have all those details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. Today's weather conditions would be perfect for a solar project that's underway. It'll be entirely owned and operated by Indigenous people. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more on how the 32-megawatt facility that will generate power to one of Saskatchewan's potash mines for 25 years will work.
18 months.
After 6 years of work, George Gordon Developments is breaking ground on its fully Indigenous-owned and operated solar project.
That's exactly what I want to prove to our own people and to our leadership and to government, that given the opportunity, we can do things for ourselves.
The $82 million Wichetowick solar project will provide power directly to the nearby K+S potash mine near Bethune through a 30-year agreement with Sask Power.
We are trailblazing here. This is a first. Sask Power has never had a power producer not sell power to Sask Power.
The project was made possible through Sask Power's new Renewable Access Service program, allowing large industrial customers to operate independently while using Crown's transmission lines. Once fully developed, the 32-megawatt facility will generate renewable energy for 25 years.
Potash mines are multi-decade assets, so we plan to be mining here for far longer than that even, so hopefully that's just there's another opportunity even after that.
Sask Power sees a bigger role for our First Nations in power generation. We know that we need to meet the needs of industry, and industry often could do it faster than we can. So we want to enable those types of partnerships and arrangements to facilitate economic development in the province, but for sure and certainly economic reconciliation.
Ross says the new development will also provide generational change for Indigenous people.
As we manage this project, not only are we doing all the construction ourselves, but we're going to be doing all the operations, maintenance, and servicing ourselves as well. So there'll be a lot of career opportunities for our young people to get into this sector.
With construction getting underway, the solar project is expected to start producing power by late 2026. Sierra D'Souza Buds, CTV News, near Bethune.
While if you filled up your vehicle in the past few days, you've noticed a decent hike in gas prices. So why the jump? Hallie Mandrick has the answer.
Saskatchewan motorists are feeling the effect of a recent jump in gas prices. Over the last few days, prices have jumped an additional 15 cents a litre. Gas Buddy lists the average price in Saskatoon at $1.44 and $1.42 per litre in Regina, but some stations in both cities are charging up to $1.46. It's due in part to a shutdown of one of the largest refineries in the United States, just outside of Indiana.
It churns out or produces fuel from about 440,000 barrels a day. That makes it the number one by quite a margin. A lot of that oil does come from Canada, by the way. But its shutdown meant that, of course, there would be a crimp in supply, and markets responded very dramatically by increasing the spot price about 19 to 24 cents a gallon.
The increased prices have certainly been noticed by those filling up in Saskatoon, with many sharing that they're holding off on filling up their tanks.
I'll buy my gas here, and then I'll go to Costco later on in the week, on Monday, and fill up.
Everything's jumping up in price and getting really expensive, but yeah, it's not getting any easier to afford than groceries and everything else too. But yeah, it sucks to see everything keep going up. But
you check the price. When it is high, maybe you can say, like let me put like $40, you know. It depends, you know. So because sometimes you can't avoid, you know.
And if you can wait, you might save a few dollars. McTagg says gas prices are expected to slowly decrease within the week and return to the previous prices soon.
I don't see prices moving up. I think there's a greater likelihood that prices are going to remain stable and calm, and they will go down. And one thing everyone should be keeping in mind is on September 15th, we switched from summer blends of gasoline to winter blends of gasoline. So that should drop prices net 5 to 6 cents a litre.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The Hospitals of Regina Foundation has unveiled the grand prize for their next home lottery. The announcement made this morning at the 4,400 square foot home in the Creeks. The house built by Ripplinger Homes features an in-home theater, a gym, and a tub for two in the master bedroom. There is also a 3-season sunroom at this home. It comes fully furnished and is worth $1.7 million. It is the 59th home lottery conducted by the Hospitals of Regina Foundation since 1987.
So when you purchase a ticket in the Hospitals of Regina Foundation Home Lottery, you're helping us deliver the new technologies and equipment our medical teams need to care for the people of Southern Saskatchewan, and I cannot stress this enough, right here at home. We are strong believers in local healthcare, and the foundation has made local healthcare a priority since 2015.
In addition to the grand prize show home, there is another $1 million worth of prizes up for grabs, including trips around the world. The Prime Minister is in Latvia committing to NATO's mission there. And families of Israeli hostages demand their government end the war in Gaza.
Greetings, everyone. As the Michif language faces a significant drop in fluent speakers, a number of programs are trying to revitalize the unique language, including the work of a Saskatoon woman. Carla Shrinkarok finds out more about her efforts to keep the Métis language from going silent.
Pour le ceinture flashy. All about the sash.
Lila Phillips is speaking Michif. She works to preserve the language that is unlike any other in the world. It blends French nouns and Cree verbs, but today, only about 30 people, mostly elders, speak it fluently. So with an aging population of experts, it's a race against time to revive it.
And language shapes and tells us who we are, and that's why it's so important for me to keep fighting for Michif.
And that Fight happens through programs offered by various Métis groups in Saskatoon, like the Central Urban Métis Federation and Métis Nation, as well as here at the Public School Division, teaching kids Michif.
With the cultural program at Westmount, the cultural teacher will visit classrooms. The teachers there also do an amazing job of incorporating language throughout their day. My name's Lila too, Tanche, and I'm Michif too.
That is one of Philip's fond memories of teaching Michif, seeing the connection in a young student's eyes.
So they were really excited, and they saw somebody else who reflected who they were, and they were just excited to share and say that they were Michif.
She's trying to make up for generations of Michif speakers who hid the language, a survival mechanism.
The old ones, the old people, did what they thought at the time to try to protect us from colonization and racism.
Her grandfather spoke Michif, but died when she was only 2 years old.
My Muslim would be happy now that we're trying so hard to fight for Michif language, to wake it up, to speak it, to hang on to it, and to fight for it. Tanche.
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 What does that mean?
That means hello. My hope is that I'll hear it in all spaces, wherever I travel, that there will be people speaking and sharing Michif.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Carla Shinkaruk in Saskatoon.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is committed to extend Canada's NATO mission in Latvia for 3 years. He made the announcement today while pursuing new economic and military cooperation with Europe. CTV's Abigail Bimman has more.
Prime Minister Mark Carney tours a shipyard. The German-Norwegian consortium TKMS is pitching Canada to buy its submarines.
Our subs are quieter than Canadian Snowfall, but tougher than a player in the Stanley Cup final.
In Berlin, the government announced it's narrowed its search for up to 12 new submarines to 2 companies, this one and South Korea's Hanwha.
It's not about buying the big shiny object from the showroom floor. It's about how you are going to sustain that capability over what will probably end up being 30 to 40 years.
Canada's submarine fleet is so old it will be decommissioned by 2035. Senior government officials describe the situation as having some urgency.
We need to be able to have year-round fleets in all 3 coasts under quite demanding conditions. So that's how the field narrows quite quickly.
In addition to tricky technical requirements, the government wants a purchase as massive as this one to have an equal investment in Canada.
Really positive indication of with this announcement today, which is atypical for the way Canada's generally approached big procurements, and based on a project budget that could get into like $100 billion range, this could end up being the single most expensive and largest defense acquisition that we've ever undertaken.
TKMS's CEO said they were open to building in Canada, which would be a first.
The customer's always right? So if they want or demand for special, let's say, reasons to build them in Canada, we would also be able for that.
Wednesday, the Prime Minister will meet Canadian troops here in Latvia. Tonight, he announced he will extend the NATO mission Canada leads here by another 3 years. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Riga.
The Canada-U.S. Trade Minister was in Washington today, sitting down with the Trump administration's top economic advisor. Dominic LeBlanc met with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. The talks are said to have been constructive, and the meeting lasted longer than scheduled, from an hour to 90 minutes. But it's still not known whether the countries are any closer to a deal. The meeting came after Ottawa announced last week it would lift retaliatory tariffs on some American goods. A gruesome case out of Barrie, Ontario. A man is in custody for allegedly killing and dismembering 2 people.
What began as a missing person investigation in January of this year was grown into one of the largest investigations Barrie police have ever had. These were not random murders. The accused and victims were known to one another and all lived in the encampment on Ann Street at some point in time.
As you heard, the Police say that the suspect and victims were acquaintances that were at the encampment. As the investigation continues, police say they are aware of the suspect's motive but are unable to disclose it at this time. There is no threat to public safety. A small political party in Alberta pushing for separation from Canada is calling on that premier to bypass a petition process and fast-track a referendum. The Alberta Republican Party says the province has the authority to schedule a binding referendum without a petition. Premier Danielle Smith has said her government will not be submitting a referendum question related to separation, but the question proposed by the Alberta Prosperity Project is currently under judicial review. A ruling is expected before the end of the year. For the second day, massive nationwide protests took place across Israel, with families of the hostages calling for the release of their loved ones and an end to the war in Gaza. This comes as international pressure continues to mount on both sides to reach a ceasefire deal as the humanitarian crisis in the enclave worsens. Heather Wright has the latest.
On a highway outside of Tel Aviv, protesters burned tires, blocked traffic, and demanded an end to the war in Gaza.
Accept the deal that's on the table to end the bloodshed that's going on.
These protests are the largest anti-war demonstrations to take place in Israel since the Hamas-led attacks of October 7th, which triggered the war in Gaza. They come as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces mounting pressure, both at home and abroad, over the deteriorating situation in the enclave. On Monday, Israel struck one of the only functioning hospitals in southern Gaza, then hit the facility a second time as journalists and rescue workers rushed to the scene. At least 20 people were killed, including 5 journalists. Israel says the strike was targeting a Hamas camera and will investigate what happened.
And I've worked in that hospital.
Nicole Lessard spent May, June, and July working in Gaza as a nurse with Médecins Sans Frontières. She says the suffering is constant. There's not enough food or medicine, and since Israel handed over aid distribution to the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, getting aid can be deadly.
When the sites made an announcement they were going to open for food distribution, we would shortly receive mass casualties to the hospital. They keep the doors closed and then open them. People rush in. The food is dropped in the center, and it's basically like a fight to the death.
As Israel pushes ahead with its military offensive in Gaza City, there are not only fears in Gaza but in Israel as well, with approximately 20 living hostages still being held in the enclave.
The Prime Minister has really gone rogue now. He's going against his chief of staff. He's going against the hostage families. He's going entirely against the international community.
Today, the United Nations demanded that Israel's investigation into the hospital strike comes with accountability, noting that more than 270 journalists have been killed in Gaza since the war began. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And a violent house explosion at Rockton, Missouri neighborhood was caught on camera. Doorbell camera provides a look at the explosion before debris rains down on the neighborhood. At least 5 people were injured and more than 20 homes damaged, some severely. The cause of the explosion is still under investigation. Coming up, Prince Albert dogs hit the catwalk.
On CTV Morning Live, a Canadian legend is coming to Saskatchewan. Rick Mercer shares details on his Stand Up for Canada comedy tour.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what you can expect for your forecast for the rest of the week. And it's basically the same as what we've been experiencing today. A lot of clear conditions and very warm temperatures. Currently sitting at 30 degrees. Did warm up to about 31 late this afternoon. And the wind is not too bad, just under 10 kilometers an hour. It's a pretty uneventful day in Regina. Well, not just Regina. In much of the province, we do have some of those excessive heat warnings in northern Saskatchewan. Essentially a statement declaring that we could see a prolonged period of temperatures in the low 30s, about 30 degrees or warmer for a number of days. And as as of right now, taking a look at our 7-day forecast for Regina in particular, we're seeing more than just a couple days in the 30s, but that could change, or we could see some heat warnings go into effect by tomorrow. We'll just keep an eye on that. For now, though, we don't have any of those warnings in place for central southern Saskatchewan, and this is basically what we've got coming up in the next couple of days. Just continued clear conditions as we head into Wednesday. We could see a little pockets of some scattered precipitation in the parkland by Wednesday evening, and then continuing into Thursday, really just showing you some clear conditions until late Thursday afternoon. Yorkton or just around the Yorkton area could see some scattered showers, and then it's not until Thursday evening we'll start to see more of that cloud cover roll in particular Thursday night into Friday morning, and then we're still going to see a lot of sunshine for the weekend as well. Temperatures warmer than our average low, which is about 9-10 degrees. We're in the low teens tonight, and then tomorrow back into the 30s for La Loche and Lloydminster, 31 degrees, 30 for Prince Albert, 27, and mainly sunny for La Ronge, 32 expected for North Battle for tomorrow, mainly sunny there, 30 and mainly sunny for Saskatoon, Yorkton mainly sunny and 29 degrees, and down in the southwest similar temperatures, 31 degrees and sunny for Maple Creek, Swift Current sunny and 29, 32 and sunny in Moose Jaw, and over in the southeast same story, 31 and sunny for Weyburn and Estevan, 30 and sunny for Assiniboia, and right here in Regina tonight dipping to 11 degrees, clear conditions, and warming up to 30 degrees again tomorrow. Could actually feel a little warmer than 30 tomorrow, but nothing but sunshine and winds up to 30 kilometers an hour. And before Lee even calls me out on it, I did forget the football, but I'll remember for tomorrow. Let's just take a look at your next 7 days. 30 degrees and sunny on Wednesday. Thursday, sunny and 31 degrees. 31 and sunny on Friday. By the weekend, Fan Day at Mosaic Stadium on Saturday. 30 degrees and nothing but sunshine, even if you aren't going to Fan Day, but you should. But if you're not, spending time outdoors, please make sure you've got all your sun protection and heat protection, staying hydrated if you are spending a prolonged amount of time outdoors. And by Sunday, 28 and sunny, and that will just continue as we head into your Labor Day Monday. Sunshine, 29 degrees, and then start of September, we see those temperatures dip down just a little bit. We will still see mainly sunny conditions, winds picking up to about 30 kilometers an hour, but that's when we start to see the temperatures dip down just a little bit. It does not look like it's the end of the very warm temperatures, but a bit of a cool down just below average or around average by Tuesday at 23 degrees.
I wasn't going to say anything about the Riders, Luke.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't. Though I saw a lot of blue and gold on that 7-day forecast. I guess we know where your allegiance lie. Thanks, me.
I'm wearing green.
Some top dogs were strutting their stuff in Prince Albert today. Jasmine Pelche took in day one of the Prince Albert Kennel and Obedience Club all-breed dog show.
Some winners at the Prince Albert Kennel Club Dog Show have already been selected, with the blue ribbon for the working group going to Kenny the Great Dane, who traveled here from Leduc.
She's an American champion. She is almost a gold Canadian champion. So she's done a lot of stuff in her career. She just recently, 2 weeks ago, won the regional specialty in Alberta. So yeah, she's a fun dog.
When asked about her impressive career, Kenny let the blue ribbon speak for itself.
They're working dogs, so they have to look like they should be able to do the job they were intended to do. And there was a lot of that, a lot of quality in that in the group today. The Great Dane just struck me as, you know, it was a perfect outline, profile, moved well. Yeah, it was a lovely comportment. She was just lovely.
This year's Prince Albert Kennel and Obedience Club All-Breed Championship Dog Show at the exhibition grounds is the 54th annual show hosted by the club.
The public is welcome to come and attend, welcome to come and see the dogs and meet the exhibitors. Just always ask before you pet the dog at the show, because some of them have had hours of grooming to get ready for their 2 minutes in the ring.
Organizers say 150 participants registered. This Wednesday and Thursday, dogs of all shapes and sizes will continue to show off for the judges in hopes of nabbing a ribbon and possibly the title of Best in Show. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Still ahead, receiver Ajoajo waived by the Indianapolis Colts. Could the Canadian return to Riderville?
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
NFL teams are making their training camp cuts this week, and some players with rider ties have been released.
The options to his right. That's where he's going to throw. He's looking to the end zone. Joe goes up and he's got it. Unreal stuff from Joe.
Receiver JoJo waived by the Indianapolis Colts in 3 preseason games. He had 4 catches for 27 yards. This was one of them. A return to the Riders in the CFL, not a guarantee, though. He could still be placed on the Colts practice roster or maybe be picked up by another team. Also, the Riders' 2024 first-round pick, offensive lineman Kyle Hergel, was dropped by New Orleans. And 6th-round pick, City So was waived by New England. Both could still make the practice rosters, though. Well, for more than 100 years, athletes have been competing in the Canoe Kayak National Championships, hoping to paddle their way to a podium finish. Well, this year the event is in Regina. Brittany Poitras has more on the athletes competing.
Nearly 900 athletes from across the country are making waves at Wascana Lake for the 2025 Canoe Kayak Canada Sprint National Championships. Some of the Regina athletes say they're enjoying the home court advantage.
It feels really good because I love not having to adjust to time difference and being able to sleep in my own bed, but it's also kind of weird because it's like harder to get into race mentality when I'm in the place I paddle in every day.
Hosted by the Wascana Racing Canoe Club, the event brings in Canada's top paddlers.
I've raced here before, and I'm really liking it today. Usually there's a bit of a side wind. Today it's like nice and calm on the lake, so yeah, it's really nice.
And they're fans from far and wide.
We came up from Las Vegas to watch them in the races because they're darling grandchildren. We love them dearly, and we're so proud of them.
Canoers and kayakers here represent 39 different clubs, all of them hoping to bring home that national title.
What they go on to do is become part of national teams. That could be Olympic Hopes team, junior national team, senior national teams. And every 4 years, of course, they're aiming to be in the Olympics. So what we have here is the best paddlers in Canada.
The chance to compete at home, extra special for Regina's Eve Wilson before heading onto the world stage. She's already earned her spot on Team Canada's U16 kayak team and is getting ready to race next month in Czechia.
I am so excited. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I never thought that I would get to represent Team Canada, especially at this young of an age. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be an awesome experience.
From the waters in Wascana to around the world, these athletes hope to paddle their way onto an Olympic podium someday. Brittany Poitras, CTV News, Regina.
Coming up, a new truck stop is set to be built in Yorkton.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your rural forecast as we head into tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of areas getting into the 30s, basically staying there for the rest of the week, and a lot of sunshine is expected. 28 degrees for Hudson Bay, Melfort, mainly sunny there. 32 in Kindersley and in Lloydminster. 31 for Outlook and Meadow Lake. 30 degrees for Watrous and Spiritwood, and 29 degrees for Wynyard. The closer we get to the southern border, pretty much the same temperatures. 29 degrees in the southeast. Carlisle, Broadview, even Kenora seeing 29. 28 for East End Cypress, 31 for Maple Creek, and 32 degrees expected for Leader. And then Lumsden, Assiniboia, Pilot Butte, 30 degrees and nothing but sunshine expected there. 31 also for Rosetown. As we closer look at Knossi Lake, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. Perfect day to spend out at the lake tomorrow. 27 degrees, mainly sunny, and the wind's not too bad either. Anywhere between 20 to 30 kilometers an hour.
Legacy Co-op has announced the construction of a new travel center in the city of Yorkton. This will be the first truck stop Legacy Co-op has actually built. The company feels there's a need for parking that is safe for all kinds of travelers there, especially with the expansion of the nearby canola crushing plant. The complex will be located at the corner of Highway 9 and Grain Millers Drive. The $18.5 million center will include gas, of course, showers, laundry, a lounge, and even an off-leash dog park.
We're very excited about the opportunity. It is a little bit nerve-wracking as well because it is a big project and it's something that the system hasn't really done a whole lot in the past. So we're taking a bit of a chance, but we think we have the skill set to be able to meet the needs of all of the consumers.
The project is currently subject to final approvals with hopes that construction can begin next year. Some furniture sold at the Brick is being recalled due to high levels of lead. The recall impacts Lars brand furniture, including the Lars counter table, chair, wood top, metal base, and tabletop glass insert. Health Canada says the black coating on the products contained an excessive amount of lead. More than 17,000 impacted products were sold across the country between June of 2023 and July of this year. No illnesses have been reported, but people who bought the furniture are advised to stop using it immediately. Markets both on the way up today. The TSX up 169 points. The Dow Jones by 135 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went up a little more than 1/10% to 72.28 cents US. On the commodity front, gold up $27.68. West Texas Intermediate crude down $1.55, while Western Canadian Select crude was up 95 cents. And gas in Regina, after that jump, it is currently staying the same. It is sitting at $1.46.9 cents per liter, a little more than we had in our story earlier today.
Canada Post is reporting its largest quarterly loss, and the corporation says it's mostly due to labor uncertainty. The before-tax loss of $407 million comes after lengthy negotiations this year between the corporation and its union. This compares with a profit before tax of $46 million during the same period last year. The Bank of Montreal and Scotiabank beat earnings estimates in their third quarters. Both banks benefited from smaller than expected loan loss provisions. Shares of both BMO and Scotiabank were trading higher today as a result. And the U.S. dollar fell today, and stocks wavered as Donald Trump pushes to remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. The move by Trump is fueling concerns about central bank independence and inflation risks. Cook, meanwhile, has said she will not step down. And those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, Bang Bang together at 7 o'clock.
Another one.
And then, of course, got one after 10. Battle of the Generations, Amazing Race Canada sandwiched in between. All right, we're not even into September yet, still weeks away from fall, and yet the pumpkin spice latte returns to Starbucks already.
It's true. The PSL fans, as the fans call it, was first introduced
Clearly not a fan.
Starbucks in 2003 and has become its most popular seasonal drink.
Wow, we got out of that story quick.
That was real quick.
Okay, let's move on.
Well, this kid didn't only get taken out to the ball game, he also had all the snacks, naturally.
Cameras caught this toddler stuffing his face with popcorn from a bag that was about the size of his body. This was during the Mariners athletics game on Sunday. Major League Baseball posted a clip writing, "No chance you had a better day than this kid."
I mean, he knows how to do sports, right?
Gotta dig your face in there.
Anytime you're eating popcorn.
That is what it feels like.
All right. In other news,
What else happened today?
apparently Taylor Swift got engaged.
Yeah, she's found a one. Kansas City Chiefs player Travis Kelce getting married. Couple sharing these snapshots with joint captions, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." Kelce, of course, plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, where it might be his final season. It's kind of believed this might be his last hurrah. And, of course, Taylor Swift has a new album coming out later this fall, so they're going to be busy. Very busy.
I mean, it is giving vibe of gym teacher and English teacher.
Really?
You don't think that gives an English teacher? She's like so smart. And then,
what are you saying about gym teachers?
No, that's not. Oh, I'm in trouble. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it was giving English teacher. Okay.